Now if you come on down to Highbury, you can see Thierry Henry. He is the best player you will ever see. Thierry Henry. Now if you come on down to Highbury.
Hello and welcome to From Dial Square to Where, a very special show. We've got a very special guest with me today, Gerry Peyton. How are you, Gerry?
I'm very well, thank you.
Fantastic. I'm really, really pleased that you've joined me today. As advertised, and initially it was going to be Bob Wilson with us as well, but unfortunately Bob's had to be taken into hospital. So I'm sure that everyone watching and listening and all the Arsenal fans will be with me in wishing him all the very best with regards to that, and hopefully we'll be able to speak to him again in the future. So, Gerry, for those who don't know, where are you actually speaking to us from?
Right, I'm speaking from Japan. I'm on. I don't know if you remember in 2002 when England was in the Japanese World Cup, and the squad trained at Awaji Island, and I'm speaking from Awaji Island now, and the training facilities that England used during the 2002 World Cup, I actually train a group of, I'm linked with Aoi Gakuen High School and Professional Football Academy, and we train on the same facilities that England trained during the World Cup 2002. And
wow.
Funny, as you get there, there's one pitch, and it's beautiful grass pitch. Absolute, and there's a big photo of an England player, and it's Beckham, David Beckham, and they got Beckham pitch. So we're very fortunate that we actually train on Beckham pitch.
Beckham pitch, fantastic. That's excellent. You've been out there for a little while now as well, haven't you? You've done a bit of travelling since you left Arsenal.
Yes, I came in. I live in Shizuoka, but the academy is on Awaji Island, so I'm staying with the group. We played 2 games recently in the Hyogo Championship, which we won. So we're through to the next stage. We're three games away from the finals, and then if we win the Hyogo Championship, we go on then to the whole of Japan Championship. So we're doing our best, and we're training very hard, and things are going very well at the moment.
Fantastic. I'm really pleased to hear it. And it must be a bit of a change for you living out there. I mean, how are you finding it sort of personally with regards to the food and everything like that? Yeah,
the food is top. I mean, the diet in Japan is, for me, it's the best in the world. You've got sushi, the Kobe steak is famous all over the world. Kobe meat. The diet is top. You know, there's nothing about the service in the restaurants, the service generally through Japan, the way they've handled the coronavirus, the COVID pandemic. They're very disciplined. Everybody wears face masks. Everybody washes their hands, and and it shows how articulate they are. That they put the Olympics on and the Paralympics. The COVID situation got very bad, where I think we were doing 5,000 people a week. 5,000 people a day at one stage, and we're down to, I think, 250 people.
Wow, great.
And life here has gone back to normal. We're near enough. We're out of a state of emergency, and we're coming back to normal.
That's fantastic. Well, I really enjoyed the Olympics. It must have been absolutely massive over there, over the summer, of course. Did you get to see any of it yourself?
Yeah, I watched on television because I worked all the way through. I was here working with we're about 3 hours on the Shinkansen from Tokyo, and some of the events were nearer. Some of the cycling events and some of the other events were quite near. But do you know what? I was working the whole time. I was on the pitch morning and afternoon with the group, and going through exercises, and just developing the young players. And no, everything's gone very well. I'm very pleased how things have gone. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We've got another game on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh, fantastic. Well, good luck with that. Good luck. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. But obviously you had a very long distinguished career in goalkeeping. Obviously mainly with Fulham and Bournemouth during your career. Republic of Ireland, you were at the Euros, weren't you, in 88 and the World Cup in 90 as a part of the squad, which must have been extremely exciting for you in those times?
I think in all I had 16 years. I made my debut in 77 and I think I've finished. My last game was against Portugal in America, in the US. We played like a US Cup in America. So I think I finished in 2002, 2003, just before the World Cup in '94 in America. So, and then I actually went to Japan then with West Ham at the time. I was number 2 goalkeeper to Ludo Maklesko and traveled to Japan. That was my first time in Japan. And yeah, that's why I've come back again, because I enjoyed it. And, you know, I like my wife is Japanese. My son has just come back. He joined the under-13 elite goalkeeping group last week. So,
oh, brilliant.
Yeah, he's doing very well. He's doing very well. He's come through he's at Espolz. He's one of the under 13, he plays for the under 14s as well, goalkeeper. So he's following in the footsteps of Dad.
Oh, excellent. Well, we'll certainly be keeping my eye open for him as well. Wish him well in his career. Obviously, you had a very long career as Arsenal goalkeeping coach and being sort of an Arsenal channel, but general football lover, I must say as well, personally. But it must be very interesting for everyone watching about your time at Arsenal. Obviously, I believe I'm right in saying that you sort of pretty much, I don't know, you didn't cross over with Bob, who was due to be on the show, but so you sort of followed on from him, didn't you?
Yeah. Well,
for 15 years as Arsenal's goalkeeping coach.
Correct, Andrew. It was, to be honest, both me and Jens Lehmann arrived at the club at the start of 03 or 04 season. We both looked at each other. Jens was taking over from an Arsenal legend, David Seaman, and I was taking over from Bob Wilson. Another, played for the club, was the coach, had done so much, they'd won the double and everything else. And I remember looking at Jens and saying, well, Jens, here we are, and now we've got to prove that we can do the job. You know, you've got to prove that you're a good goalkeeper. I've got to prove that I can coach. So yeah. I think both of us at that time, when we got together, me and Jens, I mean, Jens was already a very advanced goalkeeper. I mean, he was number 2 to their Oliver Kahn, who was one of the legends of Germany. And they had a little bit, you know, Jens was, I'm better than him, and Oliver Kahn, it's a little bit of a relationship, but when you know Jens, that's Jens. Jens always thinks he's the number 1 and he wants to be the number 1. So, and that's been his strength all his career, you know. He's very pragmatic about what he wants to do, and he's very focused at what he wants to do. And, I think both of us at that time we both raised our levels because we changed a little bit how Arsenal goalkeepers played from that, because David was more a very good shot stopper, a very good reader of the game, very good understanding of the game. And we went for a goalkeeper playing high, playing sometimes outside his box, more a sweeper goalkeeper. We played we wanted Jens at the time. I wanted him to come for as many crosses as possible, you know, and help the back. So maybe one of the finest cross takers I've ever seen in football. I mean, Jens would take balls on the penalty spot and sometimes further out. And I think his shot stopping. I think the strength was his sweeping and coming for crosses. That the Invincibles season we went, because I remember games when we went to Manchester City and Man United where Jens was outstanding with his cross taking, sweeping, and he was a good shot stopper as well. And he had very long arms. Jens stood at 6'5", but he had very long arms as well. So his body length, when he stopped and took off, he would cover and his entire body reach with his arms outstretched was quite. It's
got to be close to what, he must be over 2 meters tall anyway, or around 2 meters plus then his arm. It must be about 3 meters, and then when you include his jump, with his
step and jump, he could get into the top corner from the middle of the goal, no problem at all. No problem at all. And he had a great top arm, and he was very, very well coordinated. Very well coordinated. And I think, you can't go through a season unbeaten without having a great goalkeeper.
I mean, what a season for you both to join. You know, at the beginning of that. I mean, getting through the season, and then after sort of Christmas, and when Arsene's prediction of going through the season unbeaten was starting to look like it wasn't so stupid anymore. I mean, what was it like in on the training ground every day? And were people actually talking about it from match to match, or?
Andrew, no, we did. I'll be quite honest with you. We went through the season only thinking about one game. That was the next game we played. We only thought we have to win the next game, and all our focus. And when I went with Jens, and I used to take him after games, and we go through the game and we talk about the positioning, we talk about how he read the game, we talk about could he come for crosses, we talk about the goals that went in, if there were anything in his perfection, and just going more on his understanding the game and his analytical mind. So we never at any time. The only time when we came to Christmas, Jens had played in Germany, where they always had a Christmas break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it was harder on Jens, the fact that he went straight through the season without a break. And I remember he came to me just before Christmas, around October, and said to me, "Gerry, I've got a little bit of a problem with my knee." So I said, "Okay, Jens, and what do you want to?" Well, he said, "I've got a specialist in Germany, and he can have a little look at it." And I said, "Jens," he said, "Well, I can have a week off at Christmas." I said, "Jens, there's no week off at Christmas. There's no 2 weeks off at Christmas. We play all the way through. England, we play, and we'll play 3 or 4 games over Christmas." So I said, "Jens, you've got to think about it, and if it's not too bad and you think it's going to be okay, you get through, play with it, and then at the end of the season, if you're going to clean the knee out, or you've got to have a look at it, but think very carefully about it, Jens." So he went, "Well, I'm going to go and see a specialist." So just in November, he flew over to Germany to see a top specialist. I said, "Jens, let me tell you now, Stuart Taylor and Graham Stack, I'm telling you now, Jens, if you're not in the goal, I'm not sure they're limited with their experience. They're not going to be able to, I said, "I'll speak to the boss, but I think be very careful with this one, your decision. I think if it's only a minor thing, or the specialist is thinking it's not too bad, please, you have to carry on, So anyway, Jens went, saw the specialist, and he knew I was thinking, we can't do without, we can't put this pressure on the younger goalkeepers,
Yeah.
And he rang me straight away after seeing the doctor, and he said, Gerry, don't worry, everything's okay. My knee's fine. I'm going to play. And, that little thing like that, well, I don't think, because I tell you, I was very worried because.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Because he was, the back four was so calm with him in goal. And he had that presence on the pitch, and he had a very strong character, and his brain, his understanding of football was so quick. He analysed things so quickly and could anticipate things so quickly that he was a valuable member of the team at that time.
Oh, without question, yeah, he was a very underrated part of that side. Well, if underrated is the right word, I think people rated him, but for getting through that, I mean, for the Invincibles, everyone talks about all the flair players, and but I think he was a massive part, and it leads me up to sort of to the chat really about what we're going to be discussing. And you're going to have to. I'm going to sort of be very brief and tell you my thoughts really about the evolution of the goalkeeper, and then you can sort of tell me how wrong I am. But but the way I see it is, goalkeepers first and foremost, obviously they have to keep the ball out the back of the net. But the way I've seen it throughout my time watching football over 40 odd years now is that they were very much, it was the goalkeeper, and then it was the outside players on the side. And they were very much on the fringe, the goalkeepers. The way that I saw it, they were almost one of a kind, weren't they?
Yes.
But then in came sort of, as you've rightly mentioned, like the sweeper keeper. Sort of late night, maybe sort of during the 90s, it was very much more of a fashionable thing for them to do, and coming through. But then now, the way I see it, they are part of the full defence. They are part of. You don't just get the back four and the goalkeeper anymore. I think I see the goalkeeper as part of the defence. Period. The way that they're playing now with their feet, and I find it quite fascinating, really. And I think that's purely the way that Arsenal have brought in, Aaron Ramsdale now, because he's so good with his feet. I'm sure he could play, out on the pitch as well, as part in midfield maybe, because that's the way things are nowadays. I mean, do you see it that way? Do you see it that they are more of an integral part of the defence as a whole? And if so, one further question to add on to the end of that: what is the sort of the training routine of the goalkeeper nowadays? Do they act? Because I know that in days gone by, and up until probably still the present day, the goalkeepers go off and train on their own throughout the period.
Yeah.
Are they more brought into the training with the rest of the team nowadays? And if not, why not? Because it's really important, I think, to build that relationship on the pitch with the defence.
Yeah, good questions, Andrew. The modern goalkeeper, first and foremost, when I first went to Arsenal, I'd come from Fulham. I'd had 2 years at Fulham before coming to Arsenal, and I'd worked with Van der Sar. And Van der Sar was one of the players I was lucky enough to have had a big input in signing, going to see Al Fayed at Harrods and saying, listen, I think at 31, Edwin van der Sar is one of the best goalkeepers. And I remember sit down then with Al Fayed saying, well, his distribution is top level. This Edwin van der Sar can play on the pitch, out of his hands, off the floor. He can play, change sides. He can pick people out. Out of his hands, half volleying and volleying, he can drop balls in behind defenders, and when you're running, balls will be coming over your head. So I'd been working at Fulham for 2 years with John Tagana and Christian Damiano, with always using outfield players. So I'd spent 2 seasons, but even before that, when I was in Sweden, I always used outfield players. So I always work with outfield players and goalkeepers. And I use them for distribution, and I use them for shot stopping. I use them for 1v1s because, no matter what a goalkeeper coach can do, when you're working with outfield players, you get real movement. And some young players, where they're changing direction and they're shooting from all angles, it's very important that the goalkeepers it's live and it's real, So with Jens and all the goalkeepers I work with, and I work with Van der Sar I used to take 8 to 10 players on crossing drills and finishing and shooting. So he would be moving and then catching the ball and distributing the ball at the same time. So a lot of the drills, and I've carried on this the way I started at Arsenal. I took players to work with Jens on crossing. I took players to do shooting, free kicks, and you get the goalkeepers actually working quicker than the game. So a lot of the drills that I was doing then was quicker than the game. And then the development, I always took the young goalkeepers like Fabianski, Szczesny, with Jens and with the top goalkeepers. I took Mark Poom, who's a fantastic professional and still a very good goalkeeper, to Arsenal to work and help me to develop the young goalkeepers. So that sort of development, and now you're talking about it now, I think I was doing it 15 years ago, 17 years ago with Fulham and Arsenal. So, and you can see now, I mean, Szczesny playing for Juventus is very good with his feet. A lot of the work that we'd already done, and even people like Vito Manoni, who's now at Monaco, is very good with his feet and a good shot stopper. So, and then Fabianski, who's at West Ham, he's developed very well as a shot stopper, maybe not as good with his feet and Emi Martinez. Now, I mean, for me, Emi, with his feet on the floor, out of his hands, and his power as well, for me, he's up there as one of the top goalkeepers. I think he's the best goalkeeper we ever produced at Arsenal because of his physical presence and his recruitment of power and his size as well. I mean, Emi's 6'5". He's the same height, but more power than Jens Lehmann. And he can recruit power very quickly, and he's got a long body length. So all this put together, but you're right, Andrew. The modern goalkeeper now has to be able to be a midfield player. His vision, his long vision. When you look at Edisson for Manchester City, he can deliver a 70-yard ball into the corner of the 18-yard box. Somebody run, right. And he'll hit a diagonal ball on the other side. Same with Allison Becker, who's at Liverpool. And then you've got Mendy, who's just come to Chelsea, who I like. I like him. Yeah, I like Mendy. I think, and again, big, long body length, lots of and power, and big, good shot stopping, and a big presence in the goal, and has made a big difference since into Chelsea. And I think Emi Martinez I think he's with these four, listen, I've had him since he was 17 years of age. So I'm a big fan of Emi, being his coach and developing him over the years. But I think Emi, and I remember talking to Emi as a young boy. Emi's had two massive dreams. I want to play for Arsenal and be the number one, and I want to win the FA Cup for Arsenal, and I want to play for Argentina. Those, to accomplish both those dreams is fantastic. It's amazing. It's amazing, yeah. And
it's really amazing.
When you're developing from a very young age, you've got, there's 100 people who will tell you, no, he's got no chance. He's not that good. He's not this good. Gerry, you got no chance with him. Okay, yeah, no problem. But one thing a coach has: belief and patience. Those two,
and the best players have that as well, obviously.
Yeah, there you go. And one thing with Emi, for me, and Wojciech and Fabianski and Vito Manoni and all the other young goalkeepers that we've brought through, it's important that you give them the confidence and the belief that they can do it,
Definitely. 100%. That's one of the most important parts of coaching, isn't it? Not just about how to make them a better player, but it's what you can put up there for them as well.
Exactly. Because, I've always felt this, if you've got doubts about a player without you actually telling him, he reads it from your body language. He'll read it from what you say to him. He'll read it from, how your mannerism is towards him, So it's very important for the coach to really believe in him and give him the confidence to go on,
Yeah, absolutely.
I
see, I don't know how much you've seen so far of Aaron Ramsdale. With your schedule being up, what it's like over there at the moment, whether you've had a chance to see too much of him. But I see a lot of similarities with Aaron Ramsdale to Emi Martinez. I know it's very early days for his career with Arsenal, but I do see a lot of similarities there. And I think that's what puts him over and above. And with the greatest respect to Leno, who I think is a very good goalkeeper as well. And he's very rarely let us down, if any time. Hard.
Yeah.
Everyone's made a few mistakes, but he's been a very good goalkeeper. Yeah. But I think it's his presence. It's just not as great as Martinez's was, and how it looks like Ramsdale's is as well at the moment. He's not as vocal, anywhere near as much as the other two in the box, as far as I can see. Now, I think correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Leno come in just as after you'd left Arsenal?
Yeah.
So he didn't have a chance to work with him personally, one-on-one.
What actually happened was we sent Emi. We sent him. To be honest, I was responsible as well for sending Emi out on 14 loans, and just in 2018, speaking to the boss at the start of the season, the boss said, "Listen, you need to send Emi somewhere where he's playing the whole season at a good level." So Spain, there was 2 or 3 teams in Spain who shown interest in Emi. So Gaddafi, who came in for him and promised, because I said to Emi and his agent, they have to promise us he's going to play. He's going to be the number one. He's going to play the whole season. Otherwise, the loan don't go. So at the time, the president. This is the story the agent tells me now. But this is the problems. But the agent told me that the president promised he would be the number one, but the manager, Guaita, who's now at Crystal Palace, was there. And the manager liked Guaita. And Emi went there, Guaita started the season, and Emi came in. I came over, watched him play against Real Madrid, played against Atletico Madrid, and he played 2 or 3. He ended up playing 5 or 6 games, but not enough games to establish himself, to prove to he had to prove to everybody at the club that he was good enough to be the number one. And because he didn't play many games, I said at the time before I left, and this is documented, I said, Emi Martinez is better. I think just go with Emi. But the power above said that they wanted to bring in Leno. So, I didn't argue. That was their decision. But I said, Emi, for me, is a top goalkeeper. So I believed that he would, and he had some bad luck because the president and the manager didn't agree, and he didn't play enough games to convince the people at that time at Arsenal that he could be the number one. So they paid 20 million for Leno. So
yeah,
but now I think. But going on to Aaron Ramsdale, Aaron was he was at Bournemouth for many seasons, and we watched him. I watched him on many occasions at Bournemouth because I'd been at Bournemouth, and I knew of Aaron. And he is, no, you're right, you're correct. He's a very talented goalkeeper. He reads the game very, very well. His understanding is good. He's got a good personality. He's got a presence on the pitch, and I think, the more he plays at the level he's playing at now, it can only be good for him.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, 23, obviously, as we know, is very young for a goalkeeper.
Very young.
And what's he? I think Emi must be about 27 now, I believe.
28.
Emi Martinez, 28.
Yeah, 28.
So he's got 5 years on Aaron Ramsdale, and the signs so far that I've seen with Aaron is very, very promising for me. I mean, I think he's exactly what we've lacked for a while. Well, obviously we had that short 6 months with Emi as number one, which was incredible. I think every Arsenal fan will vouch for that. But apart from that, I think we've missed someone with that real box presence of an Aaron Ramsdale. He has become a firm fan's favourite so quickly with his personality on the pitch. I think that's a big part of it, don't you?
I think it's a very big part. When you go to a big club, you must have character, you must have a presence, and you must have a personality. Because at big clubs, you can't. You're in every big game, and you're correct, Andrew. I've watched every Premiership game. I watch every Premiership. I go through all the Premiership games over 2 or 3 days while I'm in Japan, and I've watched all the Arsenal games. And I remember one save, which was a very critical save, a crucial save for the club, was at Burnley when he's running out for a 1v1 situation, and he has to change because the guy gets to the ball first and just moves the ball slightly, and he goes in with his foot, and he changes the angle of his foot. So now he's touching the ball and pushing the ball out. So for me, this is top level because
that was the penalty shout, wasn't it?
That was
about. Yeah, that was absolutely unbelievable. He did so well to not give away that penalty.
He done because as he's running, he changed the angle. So he didn't go normally with goalkeepers. They think, oh, I've got to win the ball, and they just go and try and win it. But he analysed it to the last second. So as the player touched it, he changed the angle of his foot. So now he's touching the ball, and the boy goes over his foot. Now, if he doesn't do that last split second change of movement, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
So I like him. I like his presence in the goal. He's come for a good punch at Crystal Palace. And I think he can only get better, and I think he's part of the England squad now. So I think he's got a big future.
Yeah, definitely. He actually, I don't know whether you saw the game yesterday, Palace Arsenal. Did you see any of that?
I saw. I've seen only the highlights. I've seen the save on the left-hand side of the post, the double one for the punt, and then they've shot, and he's gone full length and tipped it around the post.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. But there's so many players in front of him blocking his view as well. And you actually see him like peering up between the players before he actually dived full length to tip it round the post. That was a brilliant save. Absolutely brilliant.
And I say it all the time. You must keep the team being an Arsenal goalkeeper or being one of the top keepers. they make crucial saves at crucial times of the game. And this is part of being a great goalkeeper, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And so Aaron, at the moment, has kept Arsenal in games and made crucial saves. And I think he will only get better now, the same as Emi now. Emi's gone on now, and you know, Argentina, the 3 penalty saves, the first time in 25 years that they've won the Copa America. So, you know, so that tells you something about,
exactly, yeah.
You know, and Aaron is doing very well at the moment. You know, he's doing very well, and you can see that the defense is calm with his presence.
That's the thing. I think that's what was the difference in the FA Cup run we had, was having him as in the defence, because I've never had that confidence with Leno that he can marshal that defence in front of him. He's just not vocal enough, as far as I'm concerned, and he just doesn't command the situation as well as Emi does, and so far, touch wood, as well as Aaron does, because they will not let anyone get in their way. They'll just happily sort of knock out one of their their teammates if it meant getting to the ball and commanding that situation. But I don't see that with Leno. I see him being a bit more timid as far as that's concerned. I don't know whether you agree with me on that.
I think 100%. But I use the word brave, and Aaron in the punch and in every situation, in a 1v1 situation, same as the penalty situation at Burnley, Aaron goes there with his eyes locked on the ball and going for the ball, and he'll go head first. Emi, exactly the same. They will put their bodies on the line to make saves. They will put their bodies on the line to keep the team in games. Now, I'm not saying I don't like saying anything bad about goalkeepers, but I just think that these two have that. They put their bodies on the line and they do everything they possibly can to keep the team in games. Now, I've seen Leno, and I think he's a good goalkeeper, but it's only small percentages. Turning away, not getting there quick enough, not reading it quick enough, not trying to go with your foot, or you're trying to go with your hands. So there's many situations over a season.
But there's one particular that I don't know whether you saw this season that I was very disappointed with Leno. It was the first game of the season, Arsenal Brentford.
Yes.
And they scored a goal from the throw-in, if you remember, Brentford.
I do remember.
And Leno was being blocked off on the line by one of their defenders.
Yes.
That really infuriated me, because he didn't seem to create enough of a fuss and make himself known that he was being fouled, to the referee. He was very quiet and just let it continue. From looking back, I've seen the situation several times.
Yeah.
And I just think in that situation, you've got to do anything as a goalkeeper to get that guy off you and command your area. And even if, and I made a joke on one of the podcasts, even if you shouted as loud as you possibly could into the defender's ear who was fouling you, to burst his eardrum, just to make your point that you're not going to put up with this. And he was too weak in that situation, as far as I was concerned.
I agree. What I did see the situation, and what we worked on with Emi and Jens, Jens, if you stood on Jens would walk around you and stand outside you. So then the other guy, who's ever marking him, would come walk round and mark Jens again on the outside. So Jens then would walk on the outside again. He'd walk on. So now Jens had created space off the line. So you can't block him in there, because Jens went round the other side. He goes round again. He goes round again. So now Jens has got a big space behind. Now he can come back into the space and now go and attack the throw-in. Or depending on where the ball's going. So Jens always likes space behind him on the line. So I come back off him, and now I'm coming to the near. If the ball's coming to the near, or the ball's going further towards a penalty spot, Jens comes around his back and takes the ball there. And we do the same with Emi. So you're right. What Leno ended up being pushed in on his line and blocking him coming off his line. So just walk round the other side. Just walk round and let him walk back round. And now you created half a yard straight away by doing that.
Exactly. You need that space, that half a yard, to propel yourself forward towards the ball and knock the player flying if needs be, just to make sure you do what you need to do.
Exactly. And you use your arm and you come back and then you push it. You're going to use your arm like there to create that momentum to come and get the ball. You're not going to push him and give a stupid foul away. But what you are going to do, you're going to create a bit of space between you and him as well. So now you're going to go and attack the ball, and you've got the space sometimes to come out and go back again. So you're generating momentum to go and win the ball. So this, but you know, there's many situations, you know, in the game where goalkeepers, it's like many different techniques, different situations that they know how to get out of, or how to make sure they can come and win the ball. And I think the Premiership now is probably the hardest league in the world, because we allow more contact, more blocking, more difficult situations than Italy and Spain. You know, it's I think for goalkeepers it's quite a physical league, and high intensity league.
Definitely. You know? I mean, something I touched on earlier, which some people may find really stupid comment from me, but when I talked about goalkeeper training and them joining in more with their defenders, with and becoming better players with their feet, is it a situation whereby a goalkeeper will actually nowadays go and join in like an 8v8 or a five-a-side, actually on the pitch to improve their ball skills on the playing on the floor?
Andrew, in Japan, I take the goalkeepers for a warm-up for 15-20 minutes where they're just doing handling. Then straight after I've done a 15-20 minute warm-up where they're warm with their hands and they're doing a little bit of catching, I take them over and I do all passing drills with cones. And the goalkeepers are part of those drills. And they do that every day for 25 minutes. They will do passing drills in different angles, their first touch, having a good first touch, passing accuracy, and then we increase the accuracy when we go into shadow play, dropping balls diagonally, runners going behind, balls going over the top. So it's very, very important to include your goalkeepers as outfield players now, because the game requires goalkeepers to be outfield players. So
exactly,
I treat the goalkeepers as outfield players.
Yeah.
And they will do their own individual work when they're doing different techniques in the goal. And like a centre forward will do individual stuff, the defenders will do individual stuff, but the whole group become together in passing and being part of the team. You know, they're very important part of the team.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that nowadays more than ever, they need to be training with the rest of the squad rather than like the old days where the goalkeepers were just, if they got any extra training at all, goalkeepers back in the day, I know they did, a lot of the time they didn't even bother, but when they did, it was all goalkeepers go off, they do their own thing, and the outfield players will go and do their own thing. And it was very much a them and us situation. But nowadays, like I said, they should be. And to build up the relationships as well on the pitch, it's very, very important to know exactly what each of them are going to do and be able to trust each other. And very much build that. Because I've made the conscious effort not to say the back four anymore. I always say the back five, because it's a one unit as far as I'm concerned, and they're all in the interchange nowadays of playing out for the back. Yeah. I mean, it's not like it used to be.
No, well. The way the game's going, Andrew, in the next 5 years, the goalkeeper will be coming out of the box and joining in with the two centre backs.
Yeah.
He will, and it's happening now at Manchester City. It's happening now at Liverpool, where Allison will walk out sometimes, and they'll push the two fullbacks in, and the two centre backs will split, and he's in the middle, and then he's looking to hit 70. He'll hit diagonal balls, and when you push 6 on to press, he's the extra player. The goalkeeper,
yeah, that's right,
outside the box, and he'll be passing the ball and then passing through the lines as well, passing into midfield or dropping balls over the fullback for the runners to go behind, or he'll be dropping balls in centre forward. He'll be dropping balls in for the wide player who once comes short, and they'll go over the top, and then the fullbacks will be looking to go wide. So it's very now within all the tactics now, the goalkeeper's passing is crucial.
yeah,
his precision of his pass, the accuracy of his pass, the speed of the ball, all very important parts of tactics now within goalkeeping. And the modern goalkeeper not only has to keep his team engaged with and be a superb shot stopper. And when we talk about the olden days, it always used to be, the goalkeeper couldn't play on the pitch, and he was maybe a little bit fat, or maybe he was the worst. He wasn't very good on the pitch. But now he's the goalkeeper physically has to be the best. He has to be quick up his line. So Emi does the 100 meters. He was one of our fastest runners. I was at Arsenal. Power, no one was, nobody had more power than Emi, with his right leg and recruiting power quickly. Emi was the strongest. And physically strong. His jumps, when we measured his jump and his power was equal to Manuel Neuer. So, the modern goalkeeper now, the days of the thin weakling and going in goal, those days are finished.
I see it. Yeah, I totally agree. I see it like the strongest, tallest, most powerful defender that a club recruits at a young age will just wear a pair of gloves.
Yeah.
In the future, there'll be a defender first and foremost on the ball and playing out, like you say. I've seen Allison standing on the edge of the centre circle often during a match.
Yes,
and I see that. Yeah, I see that as the future. The big, strong, powerful defender will be able to just wear a pair of gloves in the future and be outfield much more than they will in goal.
And then his reading and his understanding of the game has to be very, very quick as well. He has to be able to read when the ball is, the pressure on the ball, is there no pressure on the ball, reading the body, how he's kicking the ball, is he going there, who's coming into the box, who's coming there, who's coming in far post, should I be in this? So his actual analysis of the speed of the ball, the speed of the run, can I come and get that one, the speed of him coming in, anticipating that one. So the brains of all top players is very, very quick. Very quick understanding of football from all angles, And to be honest, I do a lot of this now in Japan, and I do a lot of training about the speed of the ball and scanning, looking to see where the danger's coming from, taking information from the game. So all these things that we're talking about, Andrew, is the modern game,
Yeah.
It's the future of football.
Exactly. Well, if Pep Guardiola could have 11 outfield players and not have to have someone in goal, I think he would do that every day of the week, wouldn't he? And I think that's the way it's going. Potentially. I'm not saying that he's not going to have a goalkeeper, but I'm thinking back to the days when I was in the playground playing rush goalie.
Yeah.
And that could be a simple, more advanced way that Pep Guardiola is actually thinking nowadays of using his goalkeeper as a defender first and foremost.
But I think when you see Allison, they won the Champions League with Allison in goal. Allison Becker, the Brazilian number one. because of the crucial saves he makes. Not only is he good distribution, he's got to be excellent distribution and a great goalkeeper.
Yeah.
It's both.
Yeah.
And the way that I think those two things joined together is what, and brave. Bravery is going to be a big part, because there's not a lot of players now who put their bodies on the line. Great goalkeepers put their body on the line to keep you in games. So
absolutely,
putting all these, when you're looking for someone to play at the top level, and you're looking for somebody like for Arsenal, or you're looking for someone at Liverpool or Manchester City or Chelsea, you have to look for someone who's special. I think goalkeeping is very special. It's a very special position. It's a great position because you have to have your brain must think very quickly, and it must examine three things at one time and analyze three things at one time and read the game at speeds quicker than sometimes the outfield players.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you've got the physical side of the physical thing. Can you recruit all that power very quickly to get to the ball? Or you have to recruit all that power to get your body horizontal to make an unbelievable save. So all these things that you need to have is, you don't find in a lot of people. That's why the great goalkeepers now have, there's all over the world now. It's very, very, very few. There's
exactly. Well, and that means the price of them are going to go up and up and up and up.
Well, I totally agree. I think now, when you're looking at the top keepers now in the Premiership, and I've, the ones that have impressed me, obviously, Allison Becker at Liverpool. I think a very good goalkeeper. He's the Brazilian number one, and his distribution, his reading of the game, his anticipation, and his shot stopping is very, very good. Edisson for Man City, number 2 for Brazil. Also, excellent distribution. Very good goalkeeper in all, even making saves. And, Mendy, who has just gone to Chelsea, but, Mendy was only 20 million. He's the same as Emi Martinez. And both goalkeepers, for me, if I talk about the top keepers in the Premiership, I mention Emi and Mendy within the top 4 goalkeepers in the Premiership.
Yeah, I do as well. Exactly. I'm really conscious now of your time. I could chat to you for ages, actually, Gerry. I'm really enjoying it. I know you must be a very busy man. I've got one question here in the chat here as well, saying from one of my good friends, Melvin Marks, saying, could you ask Gerry if he always wanted to be a goalkeeper growing up, and if so, who is your role model?
Yeah, growing up, I always wanted to be a goalkeeper. And, it was easy. Peter Shilton and Gordon Banks. I mean, Gordon Banks, to start with, for me, I loved Gordon Banks. He had that cat-like, he could spring, he stayed in the air, he made saves, he came for crosses, and he had a great personality. And, I studied, he was at Leicester at the time. He was playing for Leicester. He was at Stoke City at the time, and Peter Shilton was at Leicester, and then Schultz went on to Stoke City later on. But I remember studying Banksy, and his work ethic was unbelievable. I mean, Banksy was always the first one on the training ground, the last one off most days, and he worked and worked and worked at his game. And then Schultz came along and worked. Schultz would do things like he'd do an army assault course every pre-season, to build up strength and power, So these were goalkeepers in front of they were 10 years ahead of their time, because they knew they needed all that power to keep their teams in games and to have great performances.
Definitely.
The pitches at that time were disgrace. Remember, there was no grass on the pitches then, and it was mud. And
Well, it was usually a bog in the goal mouth, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then we had some. I mean, and then Ray Clements came along. Ray Clements, great reader of the game. I used to love watching Ray holding a high line and reading things and coming to protect the back. And Liverpool used to hold a high line, and Ray Clements was the sweeper behind. So Ray was probably advanced as well with the modern goalkeeper of today. Ray was reading things early and stopping things happening and playing out of his goal. So, and then you look at Pat Jennings, probably the most natural goalkeeper I've ever seen in my life. He'd be catching things with one hand. He had the biggest hands you've ever seen. He'd stand on 1v1s and he'd just fall back and just catch the ball with one hand or kick him away with his feet. So goalkeeping. And then I still remember Lev Yashin. Lev Yashin always wore black, came in, had a massive presence in the goal, and come for crosses for fun, and was very athletic, but a very big goalkeeper. He was very tall, about 6'4", and had a big presence and very strong, So, going through how the game has gone and the evolution of the game, I put it like this. Your question was, I love goalkeepers. I love being a goalkeeper. I love goalkeepers. I think it's a special position. I think it's a great position. And I think it's the best position on the pitch for me. You're in a position where you can keep your team in games and, saving penalties, keeping making penalty saves and winning things is fantastic.
100%, yeah. And I'm just going to finish off with one final question.
Okay.
And I think it's obviously a very, very poignant one for you for when you joined Arsenal. Have you seen the trailer for the Arsene Wenger Invincible program?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. Is it good?
Yeah, I mean the trailer itself just gets your hair standing up on your arms. Yeah. So I mean, being the season that you joined Arsenal, yes, it must be something that you're going to be looking forward to watching, surely.
Oh, I've read.
What can I add one last question? I mean, just very, very briefly, and I know, because this question could go on for ages. However, can you just give us a brief sort of idea what it was like working with Arsene Wenger during those years?
Well, I'm still in touch with Arsene. I still speak to Arsene. I still text Arsene. I went for dinner at his house a year after I left. I've seen him in Japan. I went to the hotel. We sit and have breakfast together, and we talk. We text each other. So I'm still in touch with Arsene. I have the uttermost respect for a guy from A to Z in football, everything, and I mean A to Z, in building stadiums, in blood tests, in analysis, the game, knowledge of the game, A to Z, and patience, and allows people to, he builds a very positive atmosphere so people can grow and become great players. And I've learned so much from Arsene. Being part of Arsenal, I think Arsenal is the biggest and best club in London. It's a classy club. It's an elegant club. So being part of Arsenal and Highbury and the Marble Halls, and then moving to the Emirates, it's, for me, my life. It's the greatest thing I've ever done. And I'm the happiest. I had 15 fantastic years there, and I only speak about it with joy. And my son used to run around the pitch with Arsene, and at the end of seasons, and now he loves Arsenal. Every time he looks for all the results, and he's a big Arsenal fan. So Arsenal is still a big part, and I watch every game. I watch every game, and I study the game, and so it's still a part of my love for the club.
Yeah, fantastic. We're getting a lot of great comments of people saying really informative, enjoyable. They've really enjoyed you being on. I mean, hopefully one day we can get you back on again and have a bit more of a follow-up, because I think there's so many more questions I'd love to talk to you about. I think it's been brilliant, and I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's been a lot longer than I said it probably would. So thank you for your time as well, Gerry.
No problem, Andrew. It's a pleasure. And good luck. Good luck to you, and good luck to Arsenal for the rest of the season.
Thank you ever so much, and obviously right back at you as well with regards to your season as well. And I really hope to one day see your son in the Arsenal academy coming through. Maybe
Yes.
that'd be fantastic. I'll definitely keep a lookout for his name.
Okay.
In the
Thank
future
you,
as well, and your results going forward. Thank you, and take care, and thank you to everyone watching.
Bye, Andrew. Take care. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.